Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Before I begin this video and you'd like to use OCD Recovery's coaching services, please reach out to phil@ocdrecovery.com and he'll get back to you as quick as he can. So yeah, today guys, I just wanted to make a quick video about needing a relationship, how to break that down, and underscoring the importance of it in our OCD and our OCD recovery, right? So yeah, let's get into it, right? So in society, in life, growing up from a young age, where sort of instilled with the idea that we need a relationship, that the relationship is the ultimate end goal of life, that once we have that, we go riding off into the sunset, Disney fairy tale, all's going to be good, and that's what we need in this life. Once we get that, we're good. But these ideas are pretty outdated now, and they don't really help us anyway. And from the perspective of our OCD, they get us into trouble. So I'm not knocking a relationship in any way whatsoever, to be clear, right? Having a good relationship, with love, intimacy, where you support each other, financial reasons, raising a family. There's so many good elements to that. I'm not saying that at all. There's great benefits of being in a relationship, right? But as we say here at OCD Recovery, when you're really rigid about these particular things, this is where we can get into trouble, right? And this also allows OCD to flourish, right? When we're really rigid and incessantly demanding things, right? So yeah, let's just take a look at needing a relationship. So in this life, there's actually only a few things that we need, right? And Nick has covered this before. So we actually only need food, water, and to an extent shelter, right? Everything else in this life is a bonus, and everything else you could say is also noise, right? That is all we need in this life to function, to fulfill our duty and our purpose as a human being. As Albert Ellis says, when we're alive, we're good as a human, right? And that is all we need to sort of fulfill that definition, right? So any relationship on top of that is like the cherry on top of a cake. And that is how we should treat it, like not our whole life, not our everything, not our ride or die, if you like, right? Because when you need that relationship, right, you tend to pedestalize it. And I made a video about this at the end of last week. So when you say that you need a relationship, you pedestalize it, aka when I get the relationship, my life's complete. Only when I get that relationship I can be happy, right? And that gets us into trouble, because imagine how miserable you're going to be if A, you're in a relationship and you lose it, or B, if you're not in a relationship and you want one. You're going to be miserable, right? And when scientifically you don't have that thing that you want, maybe you might break up, or maybe you're dating people and not quite getting that relationship. As I just said there, you're not going to be very content. You're going to be miserable, and you're just going to let ROCD have a field day, essentially, right? You're going to put so much weight of importance on the relationship, it's actually really going to hinder you and not necessarily get you the thing that you want, right? You got to remember that, like, even if you did have this relationship, right, there'd still be hardships in your life. There'd be work and financial troubles, your car breaking down, your dishwasher breaking, downsides of the relationship, loss of independence, arguments, trying to fit your life around them. Maybe they've got some annoying or dirty habits that you don't really like. Maybe they've got some in-laws or family that aren't very welcoming, or all of these different things are going to happen, right? So when you actually see it like that and see life for what it is, though relationships have many positives, it's not necessarily the riding off into the sunset thing that we think it is, And like being with a single, I'm not saying that being single is the only way forward in life. It's obviously got a lot of disadvantages, no intimacy, no combination of monetary income, etc. But there's still many ways in which you can be happy being single, right? More time for yourself, more time with friends and family, etc. So when you look at like the pros and cons of that, I think it's really key, because it helps to take the sting out of our OCD, takes the heat out of it. It's not saying that you absolutely need this thing, that you absolutely need to feel this certain way and like feel this certain way. And that's obviously key in our OCD, when you're not being so incessantly demanding over gut feelings and feelings of attraction and all those kinds of things, right? So another problem with leading a relationship, it can make us actually very needy, right? Hence why it's called needing a relationship. It can make us very needy. It can make us come on too strong towards our partner. We can maybe pressure them a little bit and not give them the room that they're after. They might be out, and we might be texting them constantly saying, oh, where are you? What time are you back? Don't do anything silly. And they might not like that, you know. People are entitled to having a bit of freedom, or people are entitled to having freedom whilst in a relationship, and they're not going to be constrained by that because you're being very needy, you know. And that, you know, if you're really needy in that way, you might just end up alienating your partner, and they might not want to be with you anymore. So being needy in that sense is not beneficial at all, especially if you love them and want to keep the relationship, right? At the same time, you know, when we're quite needy, we might sabotage our own needs and preferences to suit them. So they actually become the centre point of our life. You know, we might sabotage ourselves. We might, you know, not work as hard at our jobs because we want to be there for our partner more. We might give up foods that we like because our partner doesn't like them. We might end up spending more money on them than rather than ourselves, just to try and keep them happy. You put their needs first rather than your needs first, and yeah, all of these things are just they don't create a healthy relationship dynamic, and that can really affect your relationship. So it's always important to, you know, even though you're in a relationship, to put yourself first. Yes, you can meet the needs of the other person, right, but not at the expense of somebody else. And when you do that, you'll find that there's a more healthy relationship dynamic. You might be less of a nice guy, so to speak, which, you know, really helps to improve your relationship and, you know, maintain a bit of that chemistry and that sort of thing, right? So yeah, another reason why we don't want to be needy, as I alluded to there, you know, being clingy and overly jealous, which can lead to a breakdown of the relationship. You know, giving the partner space that they need to fulfill their own life whilst also being with you in a relationship, that's very, very important. You might, and especially, you know, in dating as well, you might come on too strong. You might be really intense in the first instance, right? If you're dating them with ROCD and you really think you need a relationship, you know, you might have that yearning. You might come on too strong, you know, be too agreeable, not you know, be very attractive in the eyes of the other person because you're being, like, yeah, again, too nice in a way. Nothing wrong with that, but, you know, it's better to be good and not have your own needs and own desires and own purposes rather than just catering to for someone else to try and get a relationship, right? So that's important. And I think as well, like, you also need to think, like, what can you obtain without a relationship? Like, what can you still do in life without the relationship? What are you needing so bad from that relationship, right? Can you still have sex? Well, you can have sex with yourself, right? Not from a compulsive standpoint, but you can. Like love, you can give yourself that self-love and appreciation. You don't necessarily need it from another person. Intimacy, and like, I mean, emotional intimacy especially. You can get that from friends and family as well, rather than just a partner, right? So all of these things, we need to bear that in mind when we think that we need a relationship, right? ROCD is going to dig its heels in, and it's really going to say that you absolutely need this one thing, and if you don't, your life's over. But, you know, if we can just change that need to a preference and look at maybe the downsides of being in a relationship, looking at the other angles that I've just explained there, I think it will just definitely help to take the intensity and the heat out of ROCD, especially if it's digging its heels in for you, and it just helps with all the cogs from an ROCD's perspective, right? So yeah, thanks for your attention, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.